So I shall entitle this message Saint George. He slew the dragon, by the way, the patron saint of England. Yay for Saint George, and yay for England. I really do love you, you know. Hug, hug, kiss, kiss. I'm not kidding. Now, come on, a marriage, a marriage. When a marriage goes wrong, it really goes bad. Just like when the United States had to break free from England. We were the colonies, they were the monarchy, we had to break free. We became a democracy. It took them a much longer time to become a complete democracy. But they got there. They did. I'm proud of them. They're going to do it their way, right? Like Frank Sinatra. And we're going to do it our way, and we can get along. Okay, but we're not part of the Commonwealth. You see, marriage, in essence, is a commonwealth where people are sharing resources. One person, maybe they're not really in charge, but they sort of have authority. A commonwealth is not a dictatorship. It's sort of like the US and Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico doesn't really have to listen to us, but they kind of have to go along with us in order to be part of the family. And they do, for the most part, as far as I know. All right, so marriage is comparable to a commonwealth, as I was saying, and I feel as if my husband is the regent. He's the crown. He's not the queen, he's the king. In England, you have a queen. Sometimes you have a king. You probably have a King Charles pretty soon. And God save the king and God save the queen, right? I hold nothing against England. I hope people realize I don't like to criticize people, but I'm the only one who could do it and do it effectively and do it without any kind of retaliation from South Korea or Iran or Indonesia. You know what I'm talking about? It's like I'm completely out of the loop in diplomatic circles. I am not connected to anybody. I don't even belong to any organizations anymore except for, well, what is that? Collegiate fraternities, honor societies. I mean, I don't even go to any kind of events associated with those. But you can't take that away from me, just like you can't take my 3 college degrees away from me. I have earned them. And if you want to disfellowship me from the fraternities, you may, but you can't take my college degrees away. Oh, well, we could, Erica. I know I've got to finalize the student loan thing where we're not going to get our tax refund taken away again this year. And it's so bizarre. This whole thing has been so incredibly bizarre because I knew that I needed to fill out the paperwork, and every time I would pray about it, God said, "Well, don't do that." And so I didn't, and so it lapsed, and so they took our tax refund, which we're entitled to because we're impoverished. Only impoverished people are entitled to tax refunds. And yet I have all this student loan debt. Now, if I would just fill out the paperwork and jump through the little hoops that they set up for you, it's obvious I owe nothing per month or $5 per month or something. For my incredible debt, my gargantuan debt, my ridiculous debt, which they shouldn't have loaned me all that money in the first place because I was a poor person to begin with. Sometimes poor people just continue being poor for a few decades. It's just their way. You know what I'm saying? It's like the subprime loan crisis. Well, it's the student loan crisis. So, no, I prayed about it. And even recently, I'm like praying, God, am I supposed to do this? And he's like, no, just wait. Wait for your husband to just force you to do it. He's going to take control. He's going to say, Erica, I don't want you doing anything else today but completing that student loan stuff. But he'll never do that. And he brought it up today. He said, someday we're just going to have to sit down and just complete this. Just like he said last week. And I was expecting him to do it on Saturday, but of course he didn't. He's watching shows and he's doing this and that. And it's just like I mean, isn't God merciful? Because I think I am not a sadistic person. And I don't think that God is. I mean, sometimes God does seem a little bit sadistic. It's for our own good, right? I'm like, God, please, I keep praying. Am I supposed to just complete the stuff so he won't be worried about having his tax refund taken away again next year? We were both upset about that. Legally, the IRS had every right to take it away, but if if the agencies had connected the dots, they would see that we have such a low income that I'm eligible for like no payments per month. So why are you confiscating my tax refund, which we're only eligible for in the first place if we're people of low income? It's like agencies are not connecting the dots. So it's about a lot more than just me and my husband. All right. But anyway, we're talking about St. George. I mean, this guy, now I have a newfound sympathy for people who are fornicating. I mean, I'm sorry using a word that seems kind of nasty, but a lot of fornication's going on here, at least in American society, right? He says, I'm not going to get married because when you get married, you hand everything over to the other person, lock, stock, and barrel, and they can just ream you. I'm paraphrasing, but St. George, he's like Solomon to me. I mean, this guy. I mean, everything he's been through. Would you like to? You should watch the show. You should totally watch the show. And I should totally jump through the hoops today and finally give my husband some relief from really something that he probably, it's not that I'm judging. Of course, I'm not judging. There are several things that need to be corrected about my husband, and that's why I was sort of an instrument in his suffering in a way, and not always a willing instrument. I don't like to make people suffer, and God doesn't like to make people suffer. But if suffering is the only thing that gets you to repent, or that gets you to develop character traits that are necessary, that are desirable for a person who's going to be living in heaven for eternity, well, then, because listen, have you ever heard of procrastination? Well, now many husbands say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and they never do. And there was a bathroom situation where we had plumbing from our top bathroom leaking down to the lower bathroom for a long time. And it got so bad that I said, hey, I'm going, you're going to fix this bathroom. I'm going to stay at my parents' house because my parents were in Florida most of the year at that time. And so that kind of forced his hand. Now I don't go commando like that anymore. God has very subtle ways of teaching people lessons. God is not a control freak. He's not trying to like get you to do what you should do. He's not going to force your hand. Usually he's not. So I think because I procrastinated on the student loan stuff, in a way that's going to help my husband to repent of procrastinating on a lot of stuff that he has in his life, because procrastination is, it's right up there with gluttony and the seven deadly sins, if you ask me. It's not sloth. Procrastination is in a different category. So can we today repent of procrastination? Yes, we can.